Welcome to my 2024-2025 NFL predictions, where I'll be predicting each division from bottom to top, who's worst, who's best, giving my award winners, giving my conference champions, and of course, the Super Bowl winner. So stay tuned, let's get into it. So starting off with the AFC West, I have the Broncos finishing last with a record of 7-10. Now, I like Bo Nix. I think he's going to be a solid quarterback, but this offense is not very good still. Courtland Sutton is really their only target besides Dulcich and Javonte Williams time to time. That's not a powerful enough offense to really get anything done. Their defense is great though, and that's obviously going to be their strong suit. It's always been their strong suit, but because that offense is so not high powered, it's going to cost them games. Nix is going to do what he needs to do and have a good season, but the offense around him isn't very good. Third in the division, I have the Las Vegas Raiders. As everybody knows, Antonio Pierce has stayed, and they drafted Brock Bowers in the first round after drafting a tight end last year. They also signed Gardner Minshew in free agency, who is going to be the starting quarterback for the Raiders. I think Minshew is being underlooked still. He's not like an elite quarterback, but he's going to go in there and win games. I mean, just look what he did with the Colts last year. Almost brought them to the playoffs with a first-year coach. However, the defense is really bad. It's not really bad. It's mid, and I don't think it's going to be something that's going to help them win games. But, if it plays up to how it's supposed to be and Max Crosby plays at a DPOY level, it's very possible that this team is better than most anticipate. I also have them going at 7-10. Next is the Los Angeles Chargers. I really like this team, mainly because of Jim Harbaugh. I think he's going to bring something to this team that many people aren't really expecting. And I think McCockiner is going to have a great year too, just because he's got Herbert at the helm throwing the ball, and I think McCockiner will be the number one target besides Josh Palmer. And due to that, they're going to ground and pound the ball a lot too, I think. It's just, are these guys going to stay healthy? Because they have J.K. Dobbins, who is very injury prone, and then they have Gus Edwards, who can get injured every once in a while. But the O-line is going to be good, one of the best in the division, so, that's not something to really worry about. And the defense is also ridiculous. The defensive line is disgusting with Bosa and Mack, and then they got Derwin James in the secondary. So this team could be very good if Harbaugh whips it into shape. And I have the Chargers going 8-9. And of course, the division winners, the reigning Super Bowl champs, two-time repeat Kansas City Chiefs. And it sucks because they got better. They added weapons. They got Xavier Worthy. They got Marquise Brown. They just re-signed Juju. It's not a big addition, but he's not like he's terrible. He can get the job done. Pacheco is obviously still there. He's gonna have a great season. Kelsey might have a little bit of a fall off, but he's still gonna be as serviceable as he usually can. Only problem is their secondary, because they just traded L'Jarius Sneed to the Titans in the offseason. So that can leave a question mark in that defensive secondary, but at the same time, with how this offense is, I'm not worried. I have them going 13-4 and locking in the 1 seed. Next is the AFC South. I have the Titans finishing last at 5-12. So I really like Will Levis, but I seriously don't think this team is good enough to really go anywhere, because the offense feels, it's a good offense, but it has a lot of questions to me. Is D-Hop still going to be playing at a level he should be? Is Ridley not going to play like garbage? Is Boyd going to play how he did on Cincinnati? Is Pollard going to play like crap? Is Tyjae Spears going to take over the running back 1 role? Is Will Levis actually going to play the way he should? It's so many question marks on this team, and even though their wide receiver room is solid and the running back room should be good, there's too many question marks, because I feel like a lot of these guys I can be skeptical about. And honestly, a big reason of that is they need to stay healthy. They have a lot of health injuries, I feel like, and I feel like that's going to be the determining factor of how well this team does. Next, finishing third in the division, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars finishing at 7-10. I honestly don't have high hopes on this team, mainly because Trevor Lawrence still feels like a question mark to me. He has extreme turnover issues, whether that's fumbles or interceptions. I think it's very possible he leads the league in interceptions this year, and that's mainly because his weapons got a little bit worse. I mean, he traded Calvin Ridley for Gabe Davis and Brian Thomas, which I think they're solid receivers, but Ridley was kind of a big piece of that offense. Christian Kirk's still there. Obviously, Evan Ingram is still there. ETN is going to have a ridiculously good season. It's just, I don't know what to expect from this team. I feel like if Lawrence plays at a Rookie of the Year level like he did in his first year, then, this team is going to finish over 500. But I'm too questionable on Lawrence, so that's why I have him so low down here. And the defensive line is still good. The defense is still good. It's just the secondary is a little skeptical. I know they just had Darnell Savage. I don't know how I feel about him, especially after watching him for multiple years in Green Bay. But, I'm just not sold on the Jags right now. Next, I have the Colts finishing second in division at 10-7. My question mark is Anthony Richardson. I think this dude is an elite talent, but we had such a small sample size last year that I can't sell my stock on him just yet. He did some incredible things while he was playing in those couple of games, but there wasn't enough for me to be like, okay, this dude's going to carry them to the playoffs. I mean, if Minshew did it, I don't think Richardson would have an issue, but the offense is still good. Jonathan Taylor is freshly healthy now. They got Pittman, Downs. It's a really good offense. Alec Pierce. And they added Adonai Mitchell as well. But the only problem for me is they made no defensive moves during free agency. Their secondary sucked, and they made no moves, so their secondary still sucks. So how much is this team going to have to score for the for the team to actually win? The defensive line can only do so much with the addition of Laitu Latu and DeForest Buckner on the defensive line. So 10-7, 7 seed, I think is reasonable. And winning division, comes to no surprise, I have the Houston Texans finishing at 12-5. And they had huge additions this season. They had Diggs, Mixon, and Danielle Hunter all added, so their offensive problem last year was kind of fixed because they have a run game now, they should. And they got another receiver, so now they have Dell, Collins, and Diggs, along with Schultz and Stroud. Like, that's a ridiculously good offense. It's probably going to be the best in the NFL. And because they added Danielle Hunter, their defense just got so much better. Only thing is, who was the other cornerback that's going to step up next to Stingley? Because I think Stingley is an elite talent, but he can only do so much. I have them finishing as the 3rd seed in the AFC. Next is the AFC North. Finishing last, the somehow I will break 500 every season Mike Tomlin-led Steelers will finish last at 9-8. Want to know why? Because Tomlin will never let himself finish under 500. My questions are the quarterbacks and the receiver room. Because the defense is good. I don't even have to talk about the defense. Everybody knows how good the defense is. My question is, what are they going to do on this offense? What's going to be the focus? Russell Wilson had a solid season last year in Denver. Is it going to continue? Is he going to play good this season? What is Justin Fields' role going to be? Because Mike Tomlin said something about him playing week 1 and being kind of like a special player almost. I don't know what he's talking about. So I don't know what kind of usage is going to be there. And the wide receiver room sucks. It's literally George Pickens. Their number 2 is Van Jefferson. Like, I don't know what to say about this team. Their defense is going to have to carry games once again because this offense is going to score very little points unless Jalen Warren and Najee Harris have breakout seasons along with George Pickens. I have nothing to really talk about this team besides Dante Jackson and Patrick Queen being added to the defense, making it even better than it already was. So 9-8, I have them going. Next is the Cleveland Browns. I have them finishing at 10-7. Cleveland Browns, their question mark is Deshaun Watson. Is he going to play up to the level that contract he signed should be for? I think he should, kind of bounce back this year. I thought it last year, but, he got hurt, obviously. But, given the time now, I think he should be perfectly okay. And I expect a decently good season. Even if he's just serviceable, this team is going to go and make the playoffs. Jerry Jeudy was added as a wide receiver 2 alongside Mari Cooper now. And they have David Njoku. Their running back core is pretty nice. They have Jerome Ford, who's going to be in until Chubb recovers, probably around week 4 or 5. They'll work him back slowly, and that run offense is going to be great because the O-line is amazing. And obviously the defense is elite, so, no question marks on this team besides Deshaun Watson. So I have them going 10-7 and making the playoffs as the 6th seed. Next is the Cincinnati Bengals, finishing second in the division at 11-6. My question mark here is Joe Burrow, which is kind of crazy to say because I think Burrow is really, really good. Like, it's not even a question how good this dude is. It's just, I don't know how he's going to recover after a wrist injury, because that's kind of one of the worst injuries you can have for throwing a football besides maybe a shoulder, collarbone, or an elbow. You know, I don't know how he's going to bounce back from that. And now the wide receivers are kind of like, they're still good, but that third option is kind of gone now because Boyd went to the Titans. It's Chase who's holding out still, and then it's T. Higgins, who I don't think is going to last the whole season because he's still on that franchise tag, and they have to pay Chase still, so they can't pay Higgins. And then Mixon's gone, Moss is in. I really like Zach Moss, so I'm not really questioning that run offense at all. Chidobe Awuzie is gone off of the defense, though, but however, they did add Geno Stone to the safety core, so, you know, I feel like 1-for-1 there, it works out. Still, that's a big corner gone that was very productive for them last year. So I do have them finishing as the 5 seed. And winning the division comes no surprise is the Baltimore Ravens at 12-5. The Ravens, you know, they literally got better in the offseason. They lost Patrick Queen, but they added Derrick Henry to the offense. Like, their problem last year was red zone conversions because they didn't have a running back that could just get into the end zone that wasn't named Lamar Jackson, who's the actual quarterback on the team. Now they have somebody who's a freight train, good luck getting him down, who's just can run it in from 10 yards easily, knocking people down. That's what they needed, and this team's going to be really good now just because of that. But the only thing about them is they need to stay healthy. That's always a problem with the Ravens. They always have health problems. Lamar Jackson will miss at least a game in the season with his sickness because he's the worst immune system known to man. No, 12-5, 2 seed, very reasonable. Next is the final division in the AFC, which is the AFC East. Finishing last comes no surprise is the New England Patriots. To think that this team would be one of the worst in the NFL a couple of years after Brady leaves is kind of crazy, but it's probably because Jacoby Brissett is this team's starting quarterback, which also means they're just giving up. So I think they just don't want to win. They don't care. The offense sucks. Ramondre Stevenson sucks all of a sudden. I don't know what happened to him. If they don't bring in Drake May, I mean, this team's probably going to be screwed. The team's a mess. They traded Matthew Judon because they know they're screwed. Gerard Mayo, I don't know what this dude's going to do if he's actually going to be good. Like, 3-14, I don't even feel like they're worth talking about. Sorry, Pats fans, but at the same time, I'm not. Next is the Miami Dolphins finishing third in the division. That is a little hard to decide here, but it's because of Tua. Is Tua going to perform in cold weather? Because they have, I think, if I'm correct, they have a lot of games away during the colder months like December and January. So are they really going to hold up come those months? And Chan is going to have a breakout season. I am so high on that dude. I think he's going to have a ridiculously good season. They lost Christian Wilkins, which really sucks. Tyreek Hill's dealing with injuries. Jalen Waddle usually deals with injuries. Like, this team has a lot of question marks, in my opinion. Especially Phillips and Chubb, two great linebackers on the team, both coming back from huge injuries. I think it was an ACL tear for Chubb, and then Phillips was an Achilles tear. Like, these are big injuries to come back from. So, especially as defensive players who are moving a lot more than, say, like a quarterback, I don't know how they're going to recover. So I have them going 9-8 and missing the playoffs. Sorry, Dolphins fans. Next is the Buffalo Bills as second in the division. This one was tough, but it's mainly because the defense is average. They lost a lot of their key veterans. They lost Hyde, they lost Poyer, and they lost Tre'Davious White. They lost a lot of their secondary pieces, and now that DeMar Hamlin's a starting safety, I don't really know how to view this team, especially the defense. And they lost Diggs, obviously, but Kincaid is disgusting. Coleman should be good, and Samuel is a great addition. I think he's going to be very underrated this season. And Khalil Shakir really needs to take a step up. It's just, is Josh Allen going to be able to do it? Is he going to be able to rally this team all the way to a playoff spot? This team isn't great on paper. Going and looking at them, they're not great on paper, especially that Matt Milano just got injured. I'm not very high on this team, but at the same time, it's the Bills, led by Josh Allen. This is the difference between them and the Dolphins. Josh Allen is a game changer. Tua isn't. So that's why I had the Bills finishing better, but they will not make the playoffs, which I'm kind of surprised by. But the AFC is just too good, and I don't think this roster is good enough to really make a playoff push. And winning division, I can't believe I'm saying this, I have the New York Jets winning the division at 10-7. They will get the 4 seed, and I guess it's because of Aaron Rodgers. It's not really a biased thing, because I love Aaron Rodgers, but, you know, this team is good. Like, they played decent last year, considering their quarterback situation, but if Rodgers is literally just serviceable and average quarterback, kind of like a Brown situation, this team will make the playoffs. The defense is loaded, the offense is loaded, especially with the addition of Mike Williams, but I don't know. Mike Williams and MetLife Turf might be a battle for the ages, like Cena versus The Rock at WrestleMania. So, I don't know. Like, I feel like this team is going to win the division, but it's going to be a battle because it's the Jets. They always do something stupid. That's just the way they are. And especially that this O-line is improved. Hall's going to have a ridiculously good season. Wilson's going to have a good season. And Rodgers probably won't get killed. Let's hope. So, 4 seed Jets, 10-7. Now it is time for the NFC, starting with the NFC East. Finishing last, I have the New York Giants. Worst team in the NFL at 2-15. This team blows. So terrible. This team sucks. Danny Dimes, I don't even know. Danny shit. That's what he is. He's terrible. I don't even want to talk about him because I might just throw up in my own mouth talking about him. Malik Neighbors, dog. He's going to be great this season if Daniel Jones doesn't suck. He might be good anyways. He's just an elite talent. And going from Saquon to Devin Singletary is a huge step down. Devin is very solid. He averages the same amount of yards every year, so you know what you're getting out of him. And that Tyrone Tracy dude could be very good too. They added Brian Burns, which is going to bolster that defensive line by a lot. They have Burns, Lawrence, and Kayvon Thibodeau now. So that defensive line is disgusting. That's going to be what wins games. Their secondary sucks, though. Like, this is the problem. They have one strength, and that's it. That's why this team is going to be the worst in the NFL. Because at least the Patriots have a pretty good defense all around. They have a good defensive line, the Giants. That's it. Their secondary sucks, especially with the loss of X. So, yeah. Next is, third in division, is the Commies, finishing at 5-12. I think Jane Daniels is going to have a good season, and McLaurin is going to be a huge part of that. It kind of sucks that they got rid of Jahan Dotson, and now that Curtis Samuel is gone, I don't really know who the number 2 option is there. So, I don't really know what to expect out of this offense too much. They have aging Austin Eckler. They picked up just a lot of people that are old. Cleveland Farrell, Jeremy Chin, and Bobby Wagner, like, those are your defensive additions. They're vets, but they're old. So what are you really going to expect out of them? Same with Austin Eckler on the offense. But I do think Dan Quinn is not going to be a terrible coach over here. I don't really know how he's going to be with Jaden Daniels because it doesn't seem like that's not how Matt Ryan was. He wasn't this mobile quarterback that can do whatever. So hopefully the OC is kind of taking care of that. But, this team should squeak out a few games that they shouldn't win. So 5-12, reasonable. Next is them boys finishing at 11-6 as the 7th seed. Lamb just got extended, so Cowboys fans don't have to be scared anymore. Only problem for me is this running back core is horrendous. They brought back Zeke because they're that desperate, and they brought in Dalvin Cook because they're also still desperate. I don't know why Rico Dowdle is kind of being, pushed aside because he's good. I think he's a good running back, but apparently they don't think so. And, the offseason sucked. This team didn't get any better. They added Eric Kendricks. That's it. They didn't do anything in a long snapper. Great offseason. 11-6. You'll be the same as you did last year and be a first-round exit, so have fun. Winning division, no surprise here, is the Philadelphia Eagles at 13-4, and they will be the 1 seed in the NFC. And the reason they're going to be number 1 in the NFC is because Saquon Barkley. Even though they lost Jason Kelce, this offensive line is still ridiculous. This is the best O-line Saquon will ever be behind. So I can only imagine what he's going to do this season. And the offense, because of that, is going to take such a huge step up. And the defense didn't get worse either. They added C.J. Gardner-Johnson, known Eagles fan. They added Kenyon Mitchell, and they added Cooper DeJean and White Jackie Robinson. This team is a lot better than they were last year. It's just, are these rookies and new guys going to step up on the defense? So, I don't really know what to expect out of the defense. We'll see what happens, but if they play to a high level, this team is going to be in Super Bowl contention. Next is the dreaded NFC North. my division. Finishing last, no surprise here, is the Minnesota Vikings at a whopping 3-14. And it doesn't help because J.J. McCarthy got hurt, so they have known bust Sam Darnold at the quarterback position. It's just not great. I don't even have words for this team. I guess they added Aaron Jones. Like, good job. This team's gonna suck. TJ Hawkins is hurt too. So, yeah, 3-14. Next is the Chicago Bears, finishing third. I have them at 8-9 because I don't think they're gonna be bad. I think this is gonna be a mid-average team just because of how new this team is. They added a lot of new offensive pieces, so I don't really know. It's going to take a little bit for them, I think, to get going because there's so many new pieces here, especially Keenan Allen, Williams, DeAndre Swift. There's just a ton of new pieces. But what's going to hold them back is Matt Eberflus because this dude is being carried by talent on this team. I think if they had a competent coach, this team could easily be competing with the Packers and the Lions for the division. Not even a question in my mind. So I think that's why I'm skeptical on him because he is a fraud. 8-9. Finishing second, don't kill me, but I have the Lions finishing second in this division. 13-4, they will get the 5 seed. Hear me out. This team is ridiculously good, but I feel like what's going to lose him games is Dan Campbell. It's going to be him because if he's going to continue to be aggressive as he is, I don't know if it's going to really pay off. I mean, the team's about the same as it was last year. It didn't really get any better. I mean, Jameson Williams is going to have a much better year. They added a lot of players on defense, but, you know, the team still feels kind of the same. They also had that Jake Bates dude who's elite, but, no, it feels about the same team. The defense could be better. It's going to be better, but, you know, how much of a difference is it really going to be? And finishing first is my Green Bay Packers. Same record as the Lions, 13-4, and they will grab the 3 seed. I think this because this team was rallying at the end of the season. If Jordan Love plays how he did at the end of the season last year, all year this year, it's not even a question they win this division. Because Jeff Hafley should come in and improve this defense, the new scheme, getting rid of known terrorist Joe Barry. This team should just be a lot better. They added Xavier McKinney, Javon Bullard for the secondary. Eric Stokes should have a bounce-back year, we hope. Quay Walker's there, Edgerrin Cooper, you know. The defense is good. It's just, is the coordination going to be there? Is the scheme going to be good? And I think it's going to be, because this dude is aggressive, and I like that as a defense. So, you know, I'm not really concerned about the defense. I'm very optimistic. And obviously I'm going to be optimistic about the offense as well because everybody is young. They just got younger, adding Josh Jacobs, who's behind a good O-line now. So who knows what kind of season this dude's going to have. He's going to have huge reception upside as well. Only thing for me is Christian Watson actually going to stay healthy? You know, he's a huge part of this offense when he's not hurt. He got some kind of stuff done during the offseason. He went to a specialist in Wisconsin and got stuff done for his hamstring, which he feels a lot better now. It's just, is it actually going to stick during the season? If it does, this team wins the division. This offense is the best and one of the best in the NFC. I'm so high on this team. It's not even biased at this point. Like, this team is going to be good. Trust my word. I said they were going to make the playoffs last year to a couple of my friends. They didn't believe me. Snuck in, 7 seed, beat the Cowboys in the playoffs. I know ball, man. Trust me. Okay. Next is the NFC West. Finishing last will be the Seattle Seahawks at 7-10. I think the thing for me is that Pete Carroll's gone. He didn't really do much the last couple seasons. He didn't really make a difference with the team. And, you know, Geno's continuing to get older, so I don't really know what to expect fully out of him. Brooks and Wagner are both gone. McDonald is in, obviously. The offense is good, but, you know, is Geno really going to play at the level he did a couple seasons ago? Or is he going to be just mid? And then, obviously, I'm skeptical of the defense. They lost a lot of their pieces. They lost Adams. They lost Quandre Diggs. So they lost 2 safeties. And, you know, secondary's a little skeptical now. I mean, Devin Witherspoon's there still. Is he going to be able to carry the secondary? It's kind of like a Texans situation. Like, the secondary has an elite player, but is he going to be able to do it all? Next is the Arizona Cardinals finishing at 8-9. When Kyler Murray is healthy, this dude's a dog. And now he has Marvin Harrison Jr. He's great weapons on an offense because he still has Trey McBride. James Conner doesn't age for some reason. This dude still continues to be good. Even though he gets hurt quite often, he's very good when he plays. And Michael Wilson is a very solid, underrated slot guy. You know, the O-line is really mid. but it's good that they have a mobile quarterback. So, we'll see how that goes. The defense sucks, though. Holy crap, this defense is terrible. But this team, to me, can be one of those teams where the defense doesn't even matter because the offense is so good. Like, they can literally put up 28 points and give up 25 and still win because of the offense. That's how I view this team. Next is the Rams, finishing second at 11-6, getting the 6th seed. This team is very good. I really like this team, and now that Cooper Kupp is supposedly back to his normal form, how good is this offense really going to be? Because, when Higbee comes back, he's a very good tight end. Nakua's had a great season last year, obviously. Kupp is a very good talent as well. Kyron Williams is really good, and they have Blake Corum behind him. Stafford doesn't age either. This dude is ridiculous. He's good every season. And they added Tre'Davious White and Cameron Curl to the secondary. Like, this team got better by a lot, and they didn't even have to do much. But the big loss is obviously Aaron Donald. It's huge loss. But, they added Jared Verse, so maybe he could reprise that role that Aaron Donald had. But, I'm very high on this team. I think this team is going to be really good. Like, shock some people. And finishing first in the NFC West is going to be the San Francisco 49ers at 13-4, getting the 2 seed. This team didn't really do anything different. My concern is Trent Williams, because this dude does not want to play until he gets money. So, when Trent Williams doesn't play, this offensive line sucks. God forbid he gets hurt, because Brock Purdy might die behind the offensive line because it is so putrid. You got extended, obviously. That's a huge piece. They got another awesome offensive weapon back. CMC is already dealing with injuries, so, that's something to keep an eye on. This defense is also very new, so I don't really know what to expect out of the defense. I don't think they should be any worse. My big concern is this offensive line and, Christian McCaffrey injury concerns, because he's already feeling injuries. So, this team shouldn't be bad. Obviously, they should be very good, but it's going to depend a lot on the offense, which is kind of crazy to say. It's pretty obvious because the O-line sucks. And going to the last division is the NFC South. Finishing last will be the New Orleans Saints. This team is in cap hell. They've been in it for the last 6 years. They added Chase Young. That's really all they did. Their offense is so mid. They have Chris Olave, Kamara, who's old, Carr, who's mid, and then they have no one behind Chris Olave. Juwan Johnson's pretty solid. Rashid Shaheed only gets deep balls, and A.T. Perry's gonna have to step up. I don't know what to expect out of this team. I can't expect anything. The defense is still pretty good, but the offense is so mid that I can't say this team's going to play good. I just can't. Finishing third is going to be the Carolina Panthers at 6-11. This team's going to have a huge bounce back. And mainly because the wide receiver room isn't improved. There was a huge drop problem last year because the team was just really bad offensively. And it wasn't mainly Bryce Young's fault. They dropped a lot of balls, and now they have Deontay Johnson, who's very good, and they added Xavier Legette, who's going to be ridiculously good, in my opinion. This offense is still, not great, but it's better than it was. And the O-line was also improved. So I think Bryce Young is going to take a huge step, especially with, seems like a quarterback whisperer, Dave Canales. So I'll be interested to see how this team really does, and I think they're going to have a way better season than they did last year. Finishing second in the division is the Tampa Bay Bucks at 10-7, just barely missing the playoffs because Cowboys will probably be 11-6. They extended a lot of people. The team is the same, but the secondary is shit. Everybody is the same on this team, pretty much, besides losing a couple of pieces. But this team still sucks. This defense still sucks. It's not good. And, Antoine Winfield can only do so much in the secondary. So, I don't even have much to say about this team. They're going to play like they did last year, as long as Baker doesn't, fall off a cliff for some reason, which I don't think will happen. And winning division is the Atlanta Falcons at 10-7, grabbing the 4 seed. Kirk Cousins, everybody. That's the big addition, the big name around Atlanta. Known white boy from Minnesota decides to go to Atlanta. London and Pitts will probably break out because they have a competent quarterback that's not named Desmond Ridder or Taylor Heineke. Raheem Morris is my question mark, though. Is this dude actually gonna be a good coach. I'm so skeptical on him. I don't really know what to think yet because he didn't seem to give two craps about the preseason, which I don't know if I agree with that, but the defense is great. They just traded for Matthew Judon. I mean, the defense is going to be ridiculously good. It's just, is Raheem Morris really the answer? Is he going to be the guy that turns this thing around? And obviously, Bijan is going to have a huge part of this offense, too. Good thing Arthur Smith is gone, because I don't think this offense would do anything if he was there. All right, everybody, so that is the divisional predictions. Now, I will be getting to the awards. For my comeback player of the year, it is going to be the bad man, Mr. Aaron Rodgers, because he's going to lead the Jets to a playoff spot for the first time in, more than a decade. Yeah, I think this is a given. I feel like a lot of people picked this one. So, I think it's a pretty easy prediction here. I don't really have to say much. Offensive Rookie of the Year. I don't want to be basic. I don't want to pick Caleb Williams. I really don't. So, I'm going to have a little fun with this pick. I'm going to pick Bo Nix. This is a really crazy prediction, but I think he can actually win the Offensive Rookie of the Year. Because if the Broncos play good, I mean, I don't think there's a reason he shouldn't get it, because he's got much worse weapons than Caleb Williams does. He's got Cortland Sutton and Greg Dulcich. That's really it for the pass game, opposed to what Caleb has. So I feel like this is a really bold prediction, but I think it's very possible. I really like this dude. He was my favorite quarterback coming out of college for the draft. So I'm going to stick with it. Defensive Rookie of the Year is going to be Latu, and that is because of DeForest Buckner and the Colts defensive line, because they're going to be what's going to be wrecking havoc on this defense, because the secondary sucks. Because of Buckner, I think that Latu is going to get a lot more opportunities compared to someone like Jared Verse, who I also had a thought about picking, but because Aaron Donald isn't there, it's going to be harder for him. So Latu, that's the dude. Offensive Player of the Year is going to be Garrett Wilson. This dude averages 1,000 yards every season with the worst quarterbacks known to man. Zach Wilson, Trevor Seaman, and then, Tim Boyle? He never gets lucky with quarterbacks. And if Rodgers is healthy, he's going to have a ridiculously good season. I expect so much from him. It's going to either be him or Breece Hall. That's my pick here. I'm going with Garrett Wilson, though, because of Aaron Rodgers. Defensive Player of the Year is going to be Max Crosby. I feel like that's a very easy answer for me. But at the same time, TJ Watt and Myles Garrett are always the pretty boys for this award. So this is going to be kind of a tough one to predict. But I think Max Crosby is going to have such a good season that you can't give it to anybody else. That's what I'm hoping. But this dude's good. He should win a DPOY eventually. Coach of the Year. This is a tough one, because I want to say it's going to be someone who was a lot worse last year but is good now. But at the same time, I feel like it's going to be something that, was good last year, but they're even better this year, which to me is the Green Bay Packers. I think Matt LaFleur is finally going to get his Coach of the Year, because he should have gotten one already even though Aaron Rodgers was leading the team a while back. He should get it this year, because if the Packers play well and they win this division, it's not a question in my mind. He should win this award. And going with the MVP here, I'm going with a little bit of a different pick, because people are picking CJ Stroud and Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, obviously. Great picks. I really like the Josh Allen pick, but I want to do something a little different. And because this offense is so young, they have so much potential, and if he can lead this offense to a division win, ridiculous. My MVP is Mr. Jordan Love. I mean, just look at his stats, how he played at the end of the last year. He had the best touchdown to interception ratio, the best passer rating. He has the highest passer rating ever in a playoff game. What is there not to be optimistic about with this dude? If he continues to play like how he did, and maybe he even got better, which I'm hearing he got better, who's going to stop him? Be honest with me, who's going to stop him? Jordan Love MVP, book it. Now I'm going to get to the conference championships, starting with the AFC. I have the Chiefs, obviously, which, known rulers of the AFC, and they're going to be going against the Ravens again. But this time, the Ravens are actually going to pull out the win. I really am picking this because I don't want the Chiefs to go to the Super Bowl again, even though it probably will happen, but I'm still going to pick the Ravens. I think it's either going to be the Ravens or the Jets that make it to the AFC Championship against the Chiefs, but the Ravens are the better team. So I'm picking the Ravens, and I have them going to the Super Bowl. And in the NFC, this one's a little tough too. I have the Lions facing either one of these teams. They're either going to face the Eagles or they're going to face the Packers. For me, I'm picking the Packers in this one, facing the Lions, and I also have them beating the Lions. And, you know, I'm trying to go unbiased here, and I know it seems like it sucks. I wish my team wasn't good, and I had so much optimism over this team, but because of how optimistic I am about this team, I think they're going to make a Super Bowl run. They're either going to win this championship, they're going to the championship game. They're either going to win it or they're going to lose it. And the reason they will win it is because I think Dan Campbell is going to get too aggressive, and he's going to do something stupid that's going to cost the game. So yeah, I think that's my pick here. So Packers, Ravens, Super Bowl. My Super Bowl winner, and this is where the journey ends, and my heart will be broken. I have the Baltimore Ravens beating the Packers in the Super Bowl in a shootout. It sucks, but this is going to be, it would be a high-scoring game. I'm picking like 20, I'm going to say like 29-24 or something ridiculous, like a really high score, because these offenses are so good. But I think Lamar and the experience on this team is going to be what gets ahead of the Packers, because this Packers team is so young that this experience isn't known for anybody on the team. And the Ravens have a little more experience about this. They've played in more playoff games. But yeah, I'm picking Baltimore in this one, which kind of sucks, but that's the prediction here. So that is my predictions. Let me know what you agree with, what you don't agree with. Please feel free to flame me in the comments. I'd love to hear from you, and I'd love to maybe even argue with you, because it'd be fun. So that's going to be today's video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Go Pack